So it's good to see all of you. Let's see, what's it been? Just a couple of weeks, I guess, since we last were together around this particular topic of Younique. Anything in the last couple of weeks that you've been trying to process, reflect on, have further questions about as you've gone back through and further revised or refined, or we're just reading through all of the unique materials? Everyone feels great, huh, Dan?
Well, since nobody else is going to, I'll stick my neck out.
Okay, good for you.
One of the things I'm discovering as I continue to process this, heading into these next few sessions here, is the realization that I need to further engage my wife in this process, to get Julie more fully involved in the discussions.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's critically important, that as I prayed over this, the Lord has made clear to me that you need three, specifically the sense I got is three men who I can sit down with, share the vision for what's beginning to be, or share what's beginning to be revealed, and get their wisdom so I'm not clouded strictly by my own observations and beliefs and what I see is going on. So the idea to engage good counselors around me to make sure that, so that's really the biggest realization to this point, and that starts next week. So, well, it's actually already started. But.
Yeah. Awesome. I think it's a great idea. A few sessions from now, we're going to talk about how to put together kind of an advisory committee or board, especially when you're going through this process and you're trying to make some major decisions. So that's really good, really good. Everyone, make sure you're muted down the bottom left-hand side. Make sure your mic is muted, or you're going to come in over the airwaves here. Okay, Mike, I think you're unmuted. You need to make sure you mute.
Can you hear me?
Let me see if there's anyone else there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can. Yeah.
I thought it said it was muted. Stand by.
Yeah, that's okay. There you go. Well, you shut your picture out, Mike. I still want to see your gorgeous face, but your mic is muted. So there you go. Is your mic muted? No, your mic's still not muted. You muted it, but you also muted your picture.
Well, I'm on an iPhone. My Windows laptop had issues loading the program.
Okay.
But it said I have to switch pages. It says,
Michael, clearly your future is not in technology.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, to Bill's point, so Bill is inferring that your live call should not be anything in the neighborhood of technology.
Can you hear me now?
There's no inference there, David. That was a statement, not an inference.
Okay.
I think I have it. Is it muted?
No, you're still, there you go. Now you're muted. Hopefully you can still see me, and we're okay. All right, so anyone else have any questions before we jump into some stuff? Okay, the two big questions that I want to answer over our next few sessions together is, how do you now begin to live out your life plan? And then how can you make decisions on what's next for you? And maybe you've figured out your what's next is what you're currently doing. Or maybe you're suspicious there needs to be a tweak to it. Or maybe you're suspicious there needs to be a major change to it. So no matter what, we're going to be able to help you with this. I kind of started our whole time together a few weeks ago saying that I really wanted to help you master three things in Younique. First of all, I wanted to help you master identity. Second of all, I wanted to help you master direction for your life. And the third thing is I wanted to help you master execution. And so this whole, what we call 90-day launch process is all about that third competency, and it's helping you master, execution in all of this. So, Kim, good to see you. Good to have you joining us. Make sure you're muted.
I am trying to do that now. I apologize.
Okay, that's all right. No worries at all. No worries at all. So we're going to start with, I want all of you that are not driving in the car, if you're driving in the car, ignore these next instructions. Or actually, Kim, it doesn't look like you're driving the car, so you can follow my instructions. Wes seems to be joining us by phone, so I'm concerned he might be driving right now. So
I'm not driving, David. I just don't have a computer handy with a camera on it.
Okay, all right. So Wes, if you'll just go to your local Radio Shack, you can buy a thing there called a computer. It has a camera on it. So.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay, so turn over. It should be in your Orange Experience notebook. Once you turn over to the 90-day tab there and go to page 1. And it should be your weekly reflecting guide. And I introduced this tool to you at the very end of our time together several weeks ago. I encourage you to begin to experiment using it. And so I kind of want us to go around the wagon wheel here just one at a time. And I'd like to hear from you, first of all, have you had an opportunity to begin to experiment using this? And second of all, I want to hear what your 4 storylines are. And in the last 7 days, have you been thriving, surviving, or reviving in each of those 4 storylines? So as you're getting situated there, I'll just take you through mine. The last 7 days as a Christ Carnator, which is my first storyline, I have been reviving in that. In my second storylines, Engaging Hoofagad, I've been thriving in that. And part of that has to do with the fact I'm just coming off a 4-day weekend, and I was able to spend a lot of uninterrupted time with Crone, as well as various members of my family. So that was great. My third storyline, Breakthrough Investor, I've been reviving in that. My fourth storyline, Joy Discover, I've been thriving in that against because I've come off 4 days of doing lots and lots of things that bring me an enormous amount of joy. So, so that's it for me. All right, who wants to jump in first?
Try not to make you work hard here, David.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Sojourner, which is my walk with Christ, and it's just a continual growing. As I read Richard Rohr and Merton and William Paul Young, I transitioned from a kind of rules-based Christianity to a more mystic, and my objective was to be more mystical in my faith and my walk. Yeah. So I'd say I'm thriving in that. The biggest problem of not, I don't get up like I need to and spend the time in the Bible and reading like I ought to. Argosy, which is the journey with the family, had been really good until last weekend. We had a kind of a big crash within the family, and so we just have to work through that one again. But being a loving husband, a loving grandfather, that'll be fine. Da Vinci, which is my work, I try to be creative in my work, try to find new space, new work, new opportunities. I'm thriving in that. And Astonishing Joy, I'm reviving. And Astonishing Joy is just Nancy and I experience. And when we go out, we don't have to be doing big things. Just being together and traveling through things, life, whether it's running down to one of the parks or other simple things. we don't need a 4-star hotel and all that stuff to just have a good time.
Yeah.
And so I would say we're reviving in that.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Bill. Bill, have you had a chance to use this for a couple of weeks, or is this really your first time with it?
Oh, I've had a chance to use it. I just didn't,
Okay.
I kind of internalize that stuff, and I tend not to go back to books. So in my 90-day journey, you're going to set me up to be accountable to go back to what I said I was going to do and get it done.
Okay. All right. Great. Let me just go around and call on the rest of you. Dan, why don't you go?
All right. Well, if we take a look at the first storyline, it'd be along the lines of my health and what I titled it. And even as I looked at these today, I can see changes coming to these storyline titles. But chain breaker in regards to health, there's two parts of this. Part of it is definitely, I would say, thriving, and that's the spiritual side of my health, the growth, the being in the Word, and the depth of prayer time and the richness that's in that. I would say I'm just surviving, maybe reviving the physical health. I need to be taking better care of myself, rest, reducing stress, eating better, exercise, those kind of things. And then we step into the next part of the storyline. And for me, that was strength fracture. And that relates to, just relate to love and how are the relationships. I would say overall, those are thriving. Challenges, yes, but they're thriving. And it's a growing thing. So I'm excited about those. Overload, which was related to work where I was burying myself. I would say that is definitely reviving, but close to thriving. Borderline right there. Made intentional changes, getting much better. And then the last part is soulscape. That's also reviving, borderline thriving. The last two are kind of going hand in hand. We're giving myself permission to go have fun.
Yeah. So. Great. Good reflections there. Thank you. Kim.
Thanks, David. We're driving. I'm taking my son back from his physical. I don't have my notebook with me, but Ron's driving. But here's my son. Here's Ron. So maybe you can call me last, and maybe by that time I'll be home and I can grab it.
Okay. No worries. All right, Mike.
Yeah, let me see if I can unmute. Did I unmute?
Yes, you did. We can hear you.
I'm awesome. My first storyline was spiritual functional fitness. I needed to increase my ability to listen. But what I needed was rest. So I spent a week up at our cabin, kind of worked on all of these at the same time. So I'm thriving on the rest part, recovering. I'm on the thriving.
Yeah.
The second storyline I called naive love, which was that in Baptist indoctrination, which is really conditional love. I was naive, so I've been. What I needed replenished there was spiritual, which I got that at the cabin. My third storyline is easy producer. Work comes easy, producing comes easy for me. But I was just surviving, overloaded.
Yeah.
Have outgrown my ability to manage the blessing. So delegating.
Mike, we lost you. Mike muted himself right out of the conversation. Okay.
He's delegating the rest of that to somebody.
I guess so. Hey, Nancy, I just now see you there. Are you in the discussion with us? Can't hear you.
A call beeped in and dropped me.
All right. There's Mike back again. Go ahead.
Bill, did you see how that fast technical recovery was?
We were all amazed.
Yeah. Delegating in the Easy Producer is starting to. I'm in the surviving mode as I'm delegating and training, but it's moving in the right direction. The last one was Recess Pioneer, where I really needed physical activity. So that week at the cabin, we put in, my friend and I, we put in a big garden and dug a lot of ditches and buried some electrical lines and water lines. And so I'm rocking and rolling again.
Okay.
In general.
Great. Good.
Appreciate
Miriam?
it.
Okay, I've unmuted myself.
There you go.
I have my storylines. The first one is Princess Trainer. That has to do with spiritual life and health and those kinds of things. And I feel like under the spiritual part, I feel like I'm thriving. One of the things that I like to do, and I've kind of started doing more consistently, is writing scripture.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it in a journal, and that speaks to me a lot. So anyway, that's been good. Health-wise, I would say I'm kind of in the surviving mode at the moment, just because I'm trying to get back to some things, and I'm working on that kind of slowly but surely. So anyway, and then my next category it's called Love Connector, and that's with family and things like that. And I consider that area reviving, especially like you said, having a nice 4-day weekend, able to spend some time with my husband and one of my daughters and things like that. And just, we had big Sunday family lunch. And so that was a good time. The next area is, I call it my cruise director area, kind of deals with work and things like that. And I consider that kind of in a reviving mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
As David knows, I've kind of been the last several months transitioning in a new position at the church with my job, and so I'm figuring out balance with it and some things like that. So I feel like I've been getting a little better at it day by day here as I'm kind of figuring out what I need to be doing, and time allotment and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of reviving for me. And then the last one is my creative curator. And what I've been able to do with that, I would say that's a reviving stage for me too. One thing I've done the last couple of weeks is I spent some time really kind of reorganizing and cleaning up my own personal office space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's allowed me to be able to be more creative.
Good.
And, and I've been able to do a couple things. Just fun, creative things, but also I feel like can get more done and think better in a more organized space. So that's been good.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Andrew, good to see you today. Talk us through how your weekly reflecting is going.
I like how you identified the 3, objectives that you said at the very beginning. And so my struggle right now is number 3, execution. So let me go into those 4 storylines. Number 1 is Awe His. That's AWE. That's in reference to my relationship with the Lord. I would say I am reviving in that area. I'm part of a men's group, and we've really gotten into, we have a series that we're going through video-wise, but which has led us into a further discussion about the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. I think in Baptist circles, we may not touch on it, maybe like some other denominations, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's brought up some curiosity and some questions, and really just a renewed interest in just seeking the Lord through the Trinity, the other part of the Trinity. So
Yeah.
just, a little excited about that. Plus a life group. I now co-lead a life group. And so that's brought a lot of excitement and some challenges as well. Storyline number 2 is love to the third power. That's in reference to my relationship with my family and friends.
Yeah.
I would say there I'm in surviving mode, just with some dynamics within my family, specifically my brother, who's over about an hour away or so, and my cousin as well. Some things have changed over there, and so I think I need to somehow revisit some areas with them. Just something for me to be aware of, on the dashboard. Let's go. Storyline number 3 is serve all, and just serving here at the church. Excuse me, serving here at the church, and even through my life group, I think just taking some experiences in the past and somehow expecting to duplicate that experience in the past in my new life group is not necessarily healthy. And so I can see frustration. I can see where serving can be up and down depending on the responses I'm getting from folks within the group. But anyway, and then the last one is what I call burning fantastic, which is my fun bucket, so to speak. So, for example, this weekend I've got a triathlon that I'm scheduled for, so I'm looking forward, to that. I enjoy biking and cycling, or running and swimming. So part of our life group exercise or gathering this weekend was up at De Leon Springs. So I was able to just spend some time in the water, just cooling down,
Right.
that as practice as well. So just really kind of looking at all 4 of those areas, but specifically just trying to execute this whole plan.
Yeah, great. Well, back to your comment about the Holy Spirit. Most Baptists have made the Holy Spirit a cousin of the Trinity. He's not actually one of the 3, but he is somehow, he's a distant relative. So, if you can bring him from cousin status up to full status, I'm sure he will really appreciate it. And you might find him even more useful and enjoyable. So
I love the analogy. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I've never used it before. It just came to me. So
I think he's really more like the cousin of Casper.
yeah, there you go. That's true. All right, Wes.
Hello. For me, in my storyline number 1, it's called Temple Tender. So for me, that represents my spiritual, mental, and physical health. For me, I'm reviving in that area. I think that's just because of a combination. I feel like in my spiritual walk, I'm thriving, but in my physical and mental areas, I think I'm in a more of a reviving state. So, but I think those are coming back. For me, just being able to really lately been trying to focus on the present, just taking each day for what it is. I've really been trying to key in on that instead of looking in the past at regrets or looking to the future with worry and things like that. So I've just really been trying to focus on my day to day, on what today is. So I would say that's reviving for me. I had a really good weekend in doing that, which normally would be a difficult thing for me on a holiday weekend where I let a lot of worry kind of build up. So that was actually had a good weekend and was able to kind of put that in perspective. So then my second one is engaging encourager. To me, that's also reviving. I'm trying to take some further steps with my family to just really spend some good time, taking some just breathers when I get at home with the kids and really enjoy time with them and time with my wife. So I would say that's reviving for me. My third storyline is positive pusher, and I would say in that I'm on the turn there from surviving to reviving. I'm kind of I think in between there. So for me, and I'm also, as you know, David, I've started a new role, so that kind of helps get some revival for me on that side. And then also I am doing some different roles at my current position too, which is we'll see what happens in those. But I think I'm in that turn there. And then my
Okay.
last storyline is Freedom Finder. And I think I'm in the same place there. I'm turning from surviving to reviving, trying to really work on finding some personal time for me to enjoy some things, and then finding some time just where I can have fun with my family.
Yeah.
So
Terrific. Good reflections there, Wes. Really good reflections. Proud of you for that. So with all of you, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to begin to actually use this weekly reflecting guide. And again, you can use the analog version or the digital version that Stephanie or Cindy probably has already sent to you. But where you're filling this out each week, and then you're going beyond what I just led you through, and you're thinking through, all right, now specific to my 90-day, my singular 90-day goal, am I currently on target with that? Am I behind schedule? Am I on ahead of schedule? So the 90-day goal that I have has to do with a project that Crone and I are working on together, and we're right on target with that. We're supposed to have that finished by the end of June, and right now we're right on target with that, just a few weeks out. And then for you to go ahead and reflect on where you had unexpected obstacles you hadn't planned on this last week, what new ideas do you have moving into this week based upon your learnings from the previous one, and then just creating a real simple 4-sentence prayer. Some of you may write it out. Some of you may just think it out, as in, God, you are, and just do it spontaneously. I don't care which it is, but just practice using that and see if it doesn't elicit a couple other things. Again, this is intended to be super simple. Some of you, by your own confession and admission, you're trying to get some of the oughts out of your life, and I'm glad for that. I don't want to add more oughts to you. And so that's why a real simplistic approach like this might be of further help to you for right now. Move on to the second and third page there, life-making cycle. So this is the 5th of the 5 master tools of Younique. So there was the clarity spiral, there was the sweet spot tool, there was the vision frame, there was a horizon storyline, and this 5th one is the life-making cycle. And it's just all about how do you review and renew the life plan that I helped you construct a few weeks ago. And the way you review it and you renew it is basically through reflecting on this weekly, using your weekly reflection guide. And then later, at the end of this process, I'm going to show you how to, block out a 2 to 4 hour period of time once a quarter, where you're going to renew a further part of your horizon storyline that has to do with your 90-day goal. You're going to change that out every 90 days. Or if you haven't finished it and you still see it as super, super mega important, then we'll just reestablish it and re-up the commitment to that for the next 90 days, as well as your 4 either daily or weekly rhythms that you're needing to be in around each of your 4 storylines. And then also at the end of this process, I'm going to show you how to, spend a day alone with God, where you're kind of thinking through the next year of your life. And so I've really written out a step-by-step guide in how to do that. Everyone in the Younique process uses that. And so I will introduce you to that tool. So that's what pages 2 and 3 are all about. So on the next page, page 4, your life, where it says calendar blocking. If you haven't already, I want you to fill in what's the best time and place for you to do your weekly reflection guide. I want you to go ahead and write that in. I had you think about this a few weeks ago, but now I'm having you declare and make a commitment to that. What's the best? Is it at the end of the week? If so, when? What day is that? What time? Is it the beginning of the week? If so, just write that in right now. And let's just go around, and I want to hear from some of you what you've decided is the best time for you to do this weekly reflection. And again, this typically, it doesn't need to last you more than, 10, 15 minutes in what would amount to a standard stand-up meeting with yourself where you're just focused on this, okay? I've also encouraged you to think about incorporating this into your devotional time and using this as a spiritual practice, and inviting in the cousin of the Trinity to guide you in the whole process, okay? So, Miriam, what day, time, and place are you declaring?
Sunday afternoon.
Okay, what time?
About 3 o'clock.
Okay, all right. Bill?
Early mornings, probably Friday or Saturday. I've just got to decide which one works best.
Okay, all right, great. Is Nancy still there? I can't see her.
Nancy is still here.
All right, Nancy, which time for you?
I'm with Miriam, Sunday afternoon.
Okay, all right, great. Andrew?
Sunday, 4 p.m.
All right, Mike?
Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All right, great. Dan?
Typically Friday mornings, anywhere between 6 and 7 a.m. I'll probably spend. That's the best time for me to do it.
Okay, good. Kim?
Lord willing, I'm going to pick Mondays at 10 a.m.
Okay. All right, good. I love the way you invoked another member of the Trinity in there. All right, Dave? Hey, Dave, good to see you.
Good to see you. Fridays afternoon, probably 3 p.m. is best for me.
Okay, great. So look at the next section of that page, quarterly planning. I only want you to fill out one section of this, and where it says year 1, 4 quarterly planning days, when will that be for you? So, for example, I actually run the actual calendar quarters. You don't have to do that. But, for me, my next quarterly planning time is June 30th, and then it's going to be September 30th. And it runs like that. And then it won't be December 30th for me. It'll be like January 3rd or 4th. So I want you to go ahead and write in what are going to be your 4 quarterly planning days as you look forward from this point on. Take a moment and fill that in, declare that.
Are those full days?
No, those are just 2 to 4 hour blocks of time once
Okay.
a quarter. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to pick up whether you use analog or digital calendar and go ahead and put in your calendar your weekly reflection time. And then I want you to take a moment and schedule your 4 quarterlies. I'll give you just a couple of minutes to do that.
I can't do that on the phone. But I did want to say while you're doing that starting the day with from a place of rest,
Yep.
has been awesome.
That's great to hear.
It has, yeah. I spend at least an hour each morning with some Christian music playing in the background while I'm doing some Bible study, and
Great.
it has really made it where my spirit is ready to face the day with a lot less stress.
Oh, good for you. Good for you, man. Great.
One thing I want to add, David, I just came back from 2 back-to-back conferences, and one of the speakers was Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, who is an internal medicine Christian, practicing as a Christian, and she really talked about the importance of rest and how we were created to rest first. Actually, it's how we were created. And I got her book, I actually won it, and it's phenomenal. But it was so interesting that how often we rest when we're done, and God actually designed us to rest first to fuel up for what's ahead. And that was just life-changing for me, so I thought I'd share that.
Awesome. Great to hear. Great to hear. Love hearing these reports of following through with all this and getting further affirmation for those things. Good. Okay. If you haven't finished it up, you can do that after the call. Let me encourage you to do that. Notice I'm already having you work on actually executing and following through with things. It's just, you know, I cannot tell you enough how my passion is not taking you through this process, but helping you follow through and actually begin to implement it so you can begin to see measurable results, you know. And you guys have already exemplified that today just by hearing how you're using the weekly reflection guide, or you're kind of beginning to get in the rhythm of thinking through your storylines like that. Also hearing about, you know, beginning the day in rest and seeing the value like never before and seeking to practice that. Those are great, great, great things. Great things. Again, what we're shooting for is we're shooting for consistency in the key things that help us execute. We're not looking for perfection. We're not looking for anything near. We're looking for consistency. Those of you that have been around me longest have probably heard me say on at least several occasions, you know, I take my cues from God in Genesis 1. Everything that God touches, he never declares anything perfect. He only declares it as good or very good. So why the heck, if he sees everything and everyone that way, why can't I see myself and other people and the circumstances of my life in the same way? So I don't shoot, I just shoot for good. I shoot for good, I shoot for very good, and you know, that's enough. And so, you know, get that Christian performance jacked out of you. And so you can actually have a life that is more the life of ease, while at the same time is a very responsible life. So, okay, turn over to the next page on the Vision Journey Checklist. I think it's page 5. There in your 90-day launch guide, Vision Journey Checklist. All this is like a synthesized list of the primary components that I want to make sure that you've been able to complete. So when it comes to your vision frame, I want you to go through and check with on your life call, life core, life steps, and life score. You know, have you started those? Have you completed those? Just where you are with it. Same thing with Horizon Storyline. Same thing with each of the 6 assessments under your passion circle, your ability circle, and your contact circle. And then have you done that sweet spot summary? It was that sweet spot diamond summary that kind of put all of that and integrated all that together. So again, you don't have to do all of that right now, but after we get off this call, I'm actually going to end us early so you have some time to actually do that. And it's just a way of bringing you back to, hey, I want to make sure out of all the things that Loveless took me through that I've completed, these are the core elements that are going to help propel me forward in some ways that are life-giving and are better aligned with who I am and what I'm sensing God's called me to do next. So these are the primary elements. So it's a good checklist for yourself, and going back and going, yeah, actually, I didn't fully complete the, let's just make it up, the Beyond the Horizon. I need to go back and revisit my 3-year dream of that particular paragraph, or my life lies and life truths under a passion circle. You know, I spent about 10 or 15 minutes on that. I think I need to spend a little more time on that. So just circle and asterisk any of the ones that you go, you know, the next week or two, I want to circle back. And again, you know, use this in your devotional time. And let this be a great practice that you partner, you know, with the Lord in engaging in. So that'll be great. All right. I'm going to wrap it up there at that point. Next time, I'm going to kind of introduce you to a new tool that I think will further awaken within you why so often you and I start off trying to accomplish something new, like this Younique process and other things. Or, you know, it could be something within your marriage, within your spiritual life and your vocation, but you don't actually end up experiencing breakthrough in it. And you often wonder why that is. Why do we start off really aspiring to do things and we get inspired to do them? We make a commitment, but we don't follow through with them. So, you know, we'll spend some time around that tool and then helping you further execute when it comes to your actual life plan. All right? So before we wrap up, any final questions or thoughts you want to hit me with?
Yeah, David, we had talked about getting a digital copy of some of these. Is that still possible?
Yeah, it sure is. Did the rest of you get that and Wes didn't? No, you didn't get it?
Nope, haven't seen it.
I didn't get anything either.
Okay. All right. In the words of the Holy One, crap, that should have happened. All right. So as soon as I get off the horn here, I will find out where the breakdown was in that. And of course, I will not take responsibility. I will shift blame to someone else. And so as a healthy spiritual practice, and let me see who I can get to take care of this, okay? So I apologize for this. You should hear back from 2 unnamed persons within the next 24 hours, okay? So that's good. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention, Wes. Anyone else?
Well, just thanks again for the time today, David. I appreciate it.
You're sure welcome. Sure welcome. This is a lot better than having to show up at the same physical space, isn't it? Much better. Okay, good to see you guys. I'll see you back in, are we scheduled for next week or 2 weeks from now?
Not sure there was a date. At least I didn't get one.
Yeah. The only one I got a schedule for was today.
That's not good. Let's say we'll meet on the Yeah, you should have it on your schedule on the 4th, on the 11th, on the 18th, and on the 25th.
Well,
Typically, I would do this every other week in the 90-day, but because we're heading into the thick of summer and because of my finish line at the end of June, we're going to kind of do this on a weekly basis. So it should be the next 4 or 5 Tuesdays on the 4th, June 4th, June 11th, June 18th, June 25th, all at 4 o'clock.
David, do you have whoever send out the invitation so we've got the link to Zoom?
Yes, I will do that. We'll use the same link. Yeah, we'll use the same
All
link. Okay, great. Good being with you guys. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday.
Good to see y'all. Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.